bill. Republicans say that's not true. Here's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
This border deal is a farce. Joe Biden already has the authority to shut the border down. He could declare it a national emergency. He could stop the invasion cold if he wanted to. He does not want to. He wants to let people in. This so-called deal purports to give him tools so that he could actually...
You've just caught a glimpse of our latest clip from Fox News. But hold tight, because at the close of this video, we're rolling it out in full. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for the entire scoop. Before we get to that, let's dive into Kayleigh McEnany sounding the alarm to Democratic governors. She's sending a clear message that their political careers might be hanging in the balance. Don't forget, smash that like button and hit subscribe to join us for more engaging talks and top-notch commentary. Now, let's get into it. In discussing the commentary offered by Santos on the border situation under President Joe Biden's administration, it is necessary to address the stark reality conservatives face when grappling with the ongoing crisis. Santos asserts that the border deal being proposed is lacking in substance, and in many ways is a political sleight of hand designed to pacify public concern without effectuating real change. As a conservative, it becomes essential to weigh in on the legitimacy of such claims. First and foremost, the contention that President Biden possesses the executive authority to staunch the flow of illegal immigration by declaring a national emergency is on solid ground. Historically, presidents have used executive orders to address pressing national concerns. This administration's reluctance to exercise such authority suggests a tacit approval, if not an outright agenda, to facilitate a lax border policy. The issue at hand is not merely procedural, but fundamentally rooted in the question of sovereignty and the rule of law. Acceptance of any number of illegal entries, let alone 5,000 per day, undermines the principle that a nation must control its borders to ensure security, uphold its laws, and maintain orderly immigration processes. The suggestion that the appropriate number of illegal entries should be zero is not simply a conservative talking point. It's a demand for adherence to the concept that ingress to a country should be legal and methodically managed. Moreover, the current administration's proposed deal, which seemingly presents a reduction in numbers, does nothing to address the magnitude of the crisis. Lowering from 10,000 or 15,000 illegal crossings a day to 5,000, while it may appear statistically significant, remains an entirely unacceptable concession. This so-called progress may serve to create an illusion of control, providing political cover for Democrats in the upcoming election, while the reality remains that our borders are far from secure. Furthermore, the focus on a numerical cap ignores the substantial issue of gotaways, individuals who evade capture and enter the country undetected, which adds a shadowy population to the already substantial count of illegal border crossers. It is disconcerting to consider the implication that for some Republicans, this deal might signify an acceptable compromise. True conservatism should demand more than band-aid solutions or half measures. It should advocate for comprehensive and potent policy initiatives that will not only staunch illegal immigration, but also create a framework for lawful, merit-based immigration that serves America's interests. This argument resonates powerfully when considering that border security isn't merely an electoral bargaining chip to be used at convenience. It's a matter of national security, economic sanctity, and social cohesion. The assertion that the deal is a bad one not for political reasons, but due to its intrinsic inability to adequately safeguard the nation, illustrates a principled stance that many conservatives, including Governor DeSantis and Mark, share. Biden's potential decision to let this deal pass without genuine action to secure the border represents a failure in leadership. Conservatives must, therefore, remain vigilant and outspoken against measures that offer nothing more than a political facade. The American people deserve and should demand a border policy that truly protects and preserves the integrity of their nation.
Bill. Republicans say that's not true. Here's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
This border deal is a farce. Joe Biden already has the authority to shut the border down. He could declare it a national emergency. He could stop the invasion cold if he wanted to. He does not want to. He wants to let people in. This so-called deal purports to give him tools so that he could actually close the border. The reality is it's green lighting up to 5,000 illegals every single day. That's 1.8 million plus over the course of a year, which they're codifying into law as saying that's an appropriate number of illegal entries. I think the appropriate number of illegal entries is 0, and our policy should reflect that.
Yeah, this sudden appetite to fix the border is so political by this president, and he could fix it by executive power.
Yeah, he did this with a pen. He could undo it with a pen. He chooses not to, just like Governor Ron DeSantis said there. But this is also important to note because we have an election coming up. Democrats want to have the appearance that they've done something without actually doing something. And they're able to do this if Republicans get on board with this border bill. Because if you go from 10,000 or 15,000 a day to 5,000, then you can stand on the podium or the lectern and you can say that you cut it in half and you're making great strides in progress towards securing the border. You're actually not, but it looks like it. And to your average viewer or voter out there, they'll say, you know what? It was a mess, but Biden is working on it, and the numbers are already down 50%. That is such a fantastic start.
So that is crazy and so true. You and I have been at the border when it was starting to get to 5,000 a day. 5,000 is a huge number, too. How do you think they got to that number?
Well, let's keep in mind that in the Obama days, 5,000 was a high. Now that's what we're willing to settle for is 5,000 a day. That also doesn't include the gotaways, by the way. So that 5,000 number, already astronomical, already unacceptable, but that's not even the half of it.
So, Mark, what do you say to the critics on the left who say, well, Republicans just don't want to do a deal. They want to run on this. Trump is telling them they got to run on this, so on and so forth. Oh, you know, Biden's got to get this through right now.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with the election. I think maybe for some it does, but I think they think it's a bad deal. You know, I mean, Republicans.
Even some of the Democrats?
I think the Republicans think that a lot of the Republicans think it's a bad deal for the reasons of Governor DeSantis raised. So if you think about this, Bill Melugin reported this weekend that there were 6,600 border crossings on Saturday, right? So that would have triggered this deal if it went into effect. It would have shut down the border. No asylum claims, no anything. Everybody gets thrown over there, and that's fine. That might have lasted for a long time. So it would actually have an impact on the border. But the problem is, Biden has broken